Hello, and welcome to today's show on Creative Business Success. Today we are talking about how to have no interruptions. Imagine that. 0 interruptions to your work life. Wow. Yes, it can be done. You can certainly reduce them anyway. So hi there, I'm Una Doyle. I'm the founder of creativeflow.tv, where you find actionable insights, strategies and tips to help you to grow your creative business and help you to make the transformation into a happy, healthy and wealthy creative entrepreneur. All right, so today we are talking about how can you get to the place where you have no interruptions? And thank you for the likes, keep those coming. So the thing is that, you got to look first, well, why is it important that you not have interruptions? Okay, apart from the fact that they can be annoying, okay? So sometimes you have those annoying people who interrupt you all the time, and you obviously want to get away from that. And so I'm going to show you how to deal with those people who might be annoying, and how you can actually really increase your productivity. Because the fact is that when you are interrupted, it actually takes you 50% longer to complete your task than it would have done if you weren't interrupted. 50% longer. Plus, worse than that, then people who are interrupted, they are up to 50% more likely to make more errors. Okay, so this is a massive drain on your productivity, and it can be frustrating as well if you're trying to be immersed into this creative soup where you can be coming up with ideas and strategies and doing whatever kind of creative work it is that you do, and for that, people like you and me, we need uninterrupted time. We need to be able to fully immerse ourselves into that in order to be able to achieve creative flow and really get into that space where we can do work we can really be proud of. And I know that is what you probably want, because that's what most creatives say to me that they want to do, is to have work that they do that they can be proud of. So it's really important for that reason. And the other thing is just that, when you are interrupted unnecessarily, then it's a sheer waste of time. And time is not a renewable resource. You're not able to replace time. Every second, every minute, every hour that you waste, you do not get back. And so interruptions can be a massive waste of your time as well. Okay, so what are the reasons why this happens? Well, there are 3 big reasons, right? Now, number 1, and I think this is one of the bigger ones, because a lot of people will, they might have kind of understood some of the other things, but this is a big mindset one, and it's about a lack of boundaries. Now, sometimes, quite often I'm working with people and they work from home. Okay, so ideally they have their own office, but maybe they're only just getting started and they are still working from the kitchen table. And the thing is that, when a neighbour or a friend pops round and interrupts you because they're like, oh, you're at home all the time now, it's like you need to be able to set those boundaries so that doesn't happen. That could suck hours out of your day and certainly your week if that's happening, several times. It's also the case that often when people start working for themselves, it can be easy for family and friends to think that you're always available. So you have to be able to set those boundaries to put in place, when you are and aren't available. Just as you would, if you were employed by somebody. So that those boundaries are really, really important. Now, the second biggie is poor delegation. Now, I probably need to do a show just on delegation alone, or in fact even just some aspects of delegation alone, and please pop it in the comments if you want me to do that, okay? Because I know this can be a challenge for a lot of creative business owners. Because let me talk about why this is. So those of us who are more creatively minded naturally, in terms of kind of coming up with innovation, we can all be creative in different ways, but in terms of like, this is what your job is supposed to be. We tend to be very head in the clouds. We tend to be very big picture thinkers. We don't tend to think in detail so much. And we also move really fast. Okay, you probably notice I tend to talk very fast. And so that speed, quite often the people who you're delegating too, it's just too fast for them. And so to be able to slow down and get into the detail enough is really, really important. And we'll talk about that in a few moments, so stay tuned for that. So the other reason why people can have a lot more interruptions than they need to is because they don't have enough planning and structure in the way that they're running their business and even their life. Okay, so these are 3 key reasons: lack of boundaries, poor delegation, and a lack of structure and planning. So what do you do about that? Okay, well, I've got a whole list of things. I want you to take at least one of these and implement it in the next week, and let me know in the comments which one you're going to do. So some of them are specific actions and some of them are more mindset related, okay? So the first thing is to delegate effectively. All right, so if you are in the position where you have got a team, or even if you're just delegating to suppliers like virtual assistants or freelancers, whatever it might be, then make sure that you are doing that effectively. Remember, you have to slow down way slower than you think, and it might even feel painful the first few times that you do this. But it's necessary. You have to understand that everybody does not think like you. You might look at a situation and boom, you've got it, you understand. And then you convey that to somebody else and you're confused and frustrated as to why they can't pick it up. Look at it this way. It's like you're in outer space looking at the whole planet and you can see everything and how it all fits together. But they're like, they're not even kind of seeing the forest. They're like in the wood, in the forest, and they literally only see the trees that are around them. So that's the varying difference in perspective that you can have. So it's really important to be able to slow down, and that will then allow you to speed up. So you definitely need to be doing that. And the other thing is to also evaluate the interruptions, because sometimes an interruption might be an opportunity. It might be an opportunity for you to connect with a loved one. It might be an opportunity that you wouldn't have seen if you were like kind of too busy. So do, take the opportunity to evaluate what are the kinds of interruptions that I tend to get, and therefore where am I going to get the most traction in dealing with these. And if you find you are getting interrupted, say by family members or by children or even by friends, well, what can you do to build structure into your time to give them the time that you want to give them, but in a way that isn't going to be affecting your work so much, yet it helps you to build up the emotional bank account for your loved ones. This next one is more of a mindset one, and it's really about how you value your time. And this is so important. Your time is so precious. And if you don't value your time, nobody else is going to value your time. You have to draw that line in the sand. And it might be an opportunity now for you to look at, well, actually, what am I doing that I ought not to be doing? Do I need to switch strategies to something that has me more in flow? Do I need to delegate something even though I think, oh, well, I can't quite afford to yet? Is that actually going to free you up so you then are able to move forward much more quickly? So these are some of the things I want you to look at, but you have to value your time, which brings me on to the next point, is that you have to get to be okay with saying no. Saying no or saying not right now without feeling guilty. Because if you say no or not right now and you feel guilty, you might as well have had the interruption, because there's no way you're going to be in creative flow if you're feeling guilty about something. So you've got to learn to say no and be okay with that. And this is where you've got to be, really tapped into the purpose and of your business and your goals and what it is that you're really looking to achieve, and do what you need to do to remind yourself of that, so that you can really, truly prioritize what is important and, when you ought to be doing different things. So the other thing is about looking at the people who are interrupting you. They could be family and friends, they could be staff members, they could be a business partner, and just really identify who are the people who are energy vampires and time vampires, okay? So some people will kind of interrupt and like really suck all the life force out of you. Other people, it's just interruptions, you know, with time. Okay, so identifying those people and putting in place some of these steps around the boundaries and what I'm going to come to next as well will really help you to kind of, you know, because a lot of the time, you know, it might only be one or two people that are causing the majority of the interruptions. Remember the 80-20 rule. Okay, quite often it's, you know, dealing with 20% of an issue actually gets you 80% of the results. So what is that going to, you know, be the case for you? And then finally, it's about planning and structuring your time and your tasks in such a way that, you know, you are really clear on what you're doing. So if you start every day and you know, okay, my top 1, 2 or 3 things that I must achieve today are, you know, it's this or it's those. And so when you are clear and focused on that, then it's much easier for you to be able to bat off those interruptions and to be more definite in the way that you're dealing with things, so that you are carving out that time that you need to do that really high quality, deep work. And it's the same in terms of your time, that when you structure your time so that you know there are certain things you need to do, but maybe you kind of have time where you're available for your staff, or you have a regular meeting with a particular supplier or freelancer, so that they know they can gather up all their questions until that time and they don't have to be constantly interrupting you in between. So, and a part of this as well is also about how you tap into the tools that you're using, like email or Slack or Trello or whatever it is that you use to manage your projects and your communication with your clients, with, you know, your team. Is to, you know, well, what are the times that you want to be looking at those things for best effect, and making sure that you are not interrupting yourself with them in the meantime. Okay, so you've got delegation, evaluating your interruptions, valuing your time as if it was a precious jewel, saying no or not right now without feeling guilty, identify those energy and time vampires, and, you know, eliminate or reduce the time that they are having access to you, and make sure you're planning and structuring your time and your tasks as well. Now, if you do all of that, I guarantee you will reduce the amount of interruptions that you're getting, and who knows, you might even get to have no interruptions, at least on certain days of the week or for specific times, you know, that you kind of set those boundaries around and that you mark as being precious for you. And when you do that, oh my God, it's the freedom that gives you. I know it might seem counterintuitive, you're putting these boundaries and structures in place, but actually that does set you free to be able to really focus and to do that creative work that you want to be doing and be really proud of. Okay, so if any of this seems a bit challenging, or you want some more information on how to do that, or you know, something else that's going to help you with your creative business success, then, you know, please feel free to give me a shout. Right now I'm offering a small number of free introductory calls with me. I'll pop the link in the comments so you can just book directly into my diary. And in fact, you'll even see with that you know, I only have certain times of the week that I make these calls available. So that's part of how I structure my time, and I'm putting this into place. So great, I look forward to, I know some people, I've just seen you join. Apologies, we're wrapping up, but go back, it'll be live in a moment on the page, and you can watch from the beginning. So such a valuable thing to be free of interruptions, and I look forward to speaking with you very soon. Okay, have a fantastic week, everybody. I'll see you here same time next week, so 4:30 GMT every Wednesday afternoon, 11:30 AM EST, talking all about creative business success. So have a fantastic week. See you same time next week. Bye.